It can't be total and complete domination by Ripple and XRP every single day. They got to throw a ringer in there from time to time. But in all seriousness, Judge Torres should have approved that settlement. You had both sides agreeing not to alter, her ruling. The securities violations would still stand and be recognized. The penalty would still be $50 million. We're not talking about a bee sting here. We're talking about a very serious chunk of change. And further, you have this injunction that the enforcement agency that would be enforcing said injunction says, we don't want it. We don't need it. She should have settled this half a decade long battle out and done so quick it makes your head spin. It's what I said from the beginning. It's politicized. It's because she sees a pro crypto administration telling the SEC and the enforcement agencies, settle these cases out. We're going to have a pro crypto outlook going forward. And she ain't playing along. Now, is it any different than it was the time before when the SEC was attacking crypto? No, that was political as well. Every kind of independent thing in this country that someone will tell you is not politicized, they're full of it. It all is. From the enforcement agencies to the judges, it's all political. It shouldn't be, but it is. At the end of the day, doesn't mean anything. We saw, this supposed bad news. XRP went down, 10 cents? Whoop-de-doo. If it would have went our way, we would have had some short-term run-up, probably temporary, 10, 20 cents, whatever. It's meaningless. Pretty soon, you're going to have regulations in this country that are going to define what is laws, and then you can take her injunction and set it on fire. I specifically didn't like her comment where she said, oh, this is a contradiction. If Ripple won't break the law, then what's the point of removing, the injunction? Well, fair enough. Then go out and join Consensus and Solana builders and Cardano builders and just enjoin the whole world then, since it's meaningless. We've been attacked since day one. We're just trying to get it on an even playing field, and she should have allowed this settlement to stop a waste of time and a money pit of hundreds of millions of dollars, half a decade. You could have just closed this out and she wouldn't. Doesn't matter at the end of the day, but it is somewhat irritating. Now, with that being said, I'm still grateful we got the judge we did. We got what we needed, and she did a great job with her initial ruling. And it's my feeling that they'll probably just drop this thing out. If the SEC wouldn't have appealed, this likely Ripple would not have challenged this. So it's not the end of the world, but it's just like one last time. Let's just get Ripple and XRP investors just one last time on the way out. It's ridiculous. She should have approved it, but she didn't. We'll move on. And hopefully all these appeals are dropped and we just don't ever have to talk or think about this situation again. I mean, from day one, when that lawsuit launched, we couldn't have hoped for a better resolution than this. XRP ruled by the courts, not a security. Everything we absolutely needed, we got. And that's really all that matters. And they just get to stick it to us one last time just for old time's sakes, I guess. Now, this was big. Ripple integrates with Wormhole, XRP's cross-chain solution here. Ripple just partnered with Wormhole, unlocking seamless interoperability across 35 chains, including Ethereum, Solana, and Avalanche. XRP issued assets, multi-purpose tokens. Now they can move cross-chain. And that's the thing. We have a great trading system, a DEX, just really great infrastructure, but we need more interesting assets to trade, to create a lot of transactions, and this will help with that. Now, beyond that, I think we're going to see a lot of really cool projects launch on the XRP ledger, and there'll be native assets that you're going to want to buy and trade for. That's great too. But this is a big step here. Smart contracts on other chains can trigger things on the XRP ledger. David Schwartz says interoperability is essential for real-world adoption. This is a major leap forward, and it's going to be very integral for XRP Ledger's EVM sidechain, where you're seeing an explosion of growth over there. I heard a lot of people talking about, is this the best solution, Wormhole? Probably not, but it's probably the one that lets us rock and roll today. Let's Ripple do the things they need to do today, and so I think that's probably why they went for it. It's ready, even if it's not, the most compelling, the most cutting edge. They can use it now, and that's really what matters. Listen, we can always do other things down the road, but this is a solution that's ready for game time today. Vet says the following: interoperability is key. The XRP ledger also is going to allow assets and projects from other networks to be utilized on the XRP ledger. That's what I was talking about. Think of RWA stablecoins, yield-bearing assets to come to the XRP ledger from other chains to be used on the AMM index. Exciting times ahead. You're going to see that this chain really evolves into a central hub connecting Ethereum, Solana, all these other chains. And a lot of that value is going to end up on this blockchain for really efficient trade. And you're going to see that liquidity rise. And you can use that for payments. You can use that for all sorts of DeFi and other use cases. This is really the original vision of this ledger, being this central financial hub for the world. Big, big deal here. XRP and RLUSD now accepted at 20 million merchants. Ripple has partnered with Aon to bring XRP and RLUSD into real-world payments across Southeast Asia. That's just to begin. They're going to expand from there. You can pay with RLUSD at 20 million merchants, places like McDonald's, Starbucks, Pizza Hut. Expansive plans already set for Africa, Latin America, and beyond. This is real utility in motion. It's a new use case. It's real world value. That's a big deal. XRP's role in global payments just got a massive boost. It's not just about cross-border payments. It's any sort of transfer of value, settlement of transactions. XRP is going to be a game changer here. XRP Futures Surge. This is good to see. We want to know how much demand is out there. Now, futures aren't as good as spot. There'll be a lot more demand for spot, but still, it's kind of an indicator. 542 million traded in the first month on CME. It's also good we're on CME, not one of the smaller ones. Institutional interest is heating up, so we're building towards a crescendo. CME Group reports 542 million in volume for XRP and micro XRP futures since launch on May 19th. 70 million right now, open interest. 45% of the trades are coming from outside the US and Canada. This isn't hype, it's real institutional demand. Spot ETF approval, Bloomberg puts at 95% in 2025. That's the key. Not the someday, not, sometime off into the future. Now, really quick, and that's going to be a game changer. And you're going to see that volume. It ain't going to be 542 million, I can tell you that. And you're going to see a lot of trades coming from the US and Canada as well to go with some of those international trades. Dubai approves RLUSD and launches real estate tokenization on the XRP ledger. Big win for Ripple and really for the XRP ledger in the UAE. Dubai's Financial Service Authority greenlit RLUSD for use across 7,000 regulated businesses. RLUSD will power the Dubai Land Department real estate tokenization pilot, recording title deeds directly on the XRP ledger. This is more than just a headline. It's regulatory clarity, real-world adoption for stablecoins and RWAs on the XRP ledger. It's not going to be the last person that uses this. And yeah, it's a pilot. It's going to start off small, but if it's successful, if it's useful, you're going to see that scale up and it'll be a model for everyone else to use. All right, we have corporate Bitcoin adoption hits all-time high in 2025, and this is a preview. This is a preview because it's not just going to be Bitcoin. It's going to be XRP. It's going to be Ethereum. It's going to be a lot of altcoins, just like anything else. People don't just invest in one thing. It'll be the broader crypto market. Bitcoin, though, right now, it's on the books of 151 public companies. That's a 29% surge. Firms are treating Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset against inflation and currency debasement. Altcoins work just the same way. No big difference there. Some companies saw stock gains over 700% after adding crypto to their reserves. And this is just going to continue to be done. Now, you're not going to see like an Apple put all of their reserves or Amazon. It'll be a small portion, but still, when you add up all that together, it's a big deal. You best believe. Altcoin ETFs are coming in soon. Solana next in line. Could be Solana, could be XRP, could be both of them. Who cares? Just start getting them across the finish line. All your big ones are going to make it. Bloomberg, they put a 90% chance on the approval of a Solana ETF, but this is the important part. This is what excites me about a lot of these tokens. ETFs may include staking rewards, creating yield-generating exposure for investors. I think that's been holding back the Ethereum ETF. If I buy Ethereum in ETF form, yeah, that's a very small fee, but I'm losing out on my staking rewards. And so it's kind of a negative way to approach things. If you introduce that man, this is going to be popular. You're going to have people that can buy these types of investments, get a yield back. They're getting more Ethereum, more Solana, more Cardano, and it should be an asset that's appreciating over the long term. They're going to love this type of ETF with a monthly or quarterly dividend. Man, it's going to be lights out, and it's going to bring a lot of people to the altcoin space. So I can't wait to see that. I hope it does have staking rewards, and I hope they get that for Ethereum as well. I think it's just a matter of time. Lastly, we see this headline here: Trump targets Fed Chair Powell, eyes his replacement before 2026. The Fed's independence, this is from an article, is under fire as President Trump ramps up attacks on Jerome Powell, calling him average mentally person with low IQ at the NATO summit. President Trump says he has narrowed it down to 3 to 4 candidates to replace Powell. I've been saying I think if he puts someone good up that they agree with, Powell may step down early. But the other thing that can happen is this: if he puts that candidate up and they're in the wings and something goes awry, well, I think he'll be forced to step down here. And this is my issue. I'm not saying they should be wildly cutting interest rates, but 100%, you cannot defend his actions when he is doing mega cuts. And I've been yelling about this for some time. When he's doing mega cuts up into the election, and then all of a sudden he just slams on the brakes. There's no reason for that. You can argue now the trade war and all this other stuff, but before that, why did he slam on the brakes? Why do you need to do a 50 basis point cut? What was so crazy where you had to do this mega cut, and then all of a sudden now you're worried about inflation? It's political. As I said, everything in this country is political, even especially when they're not supposed to be. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.